Hello crochet lovers, welcome to Crochet Lovers. Today we'll learn how to make this wolf beanie, and like always we'll learn to make this step by step. For our wolf beanie we'll need 3 colors. Color A, which will be used for the band, color B, which is the base color for the wolf's fur, and color C, which we'll use to make the snout and the edges. I recommend you use yarns for a 3.5 to 4mm hook. On the description, you'll find the information for my materials. I will be using a 4mm hook. We'll begin making the band, so we make a slip knot. Remember that if you need to practice the basic crochet stitches, you can check out my basic course for beginners. So the first thing is to make an odd number of chains until we get to the desired width for our project. This measure should be half of the perimeter of our head. On screen you'll see the suggested widths for each size. So we make an odd number of chains for the width we need for our size. I have made my 26 centimeters of chains, so I'll stop now. Remember that it's an odd number of chains. For my beanie it was 37, but this number changes depending on your yarn and your hook. So now, no matter how many initial chains you have, we'll make 2 extra chains for all cases. 1 and 2. And in the third chain from the hook, we'll make 1 double crochet. That's our first double crochet. We will ignore later on those 2 chains we have at the very edge. We have completed the first double crochet of the row, so we'll keep making 1 double crochet in each stitch available. Perfect, we're almost at the end. This is the last double crochet in the last chain available. That's how the first row should look. And if we count the top loops, we should have the same odd number as the chains we made at the beginning. I have 37 double crochet stitches. This is a good moment to measure our project again, because sometimes after that first row, the measure can increase or decrease and we would have to correct the number of chains. Once we have verified that everything is okay, we'll make 1 chain, and now it's time to make 1 single crochet in each stitch available. This is a very simple row. Just make 1 single crochet in each stitch until we get to the other side. We have now made the last single crochet in the last double crochet from the previous row. And don't forget we have to ignore the 2 chains we made to go up the row. So we'll pretend like they don't exist. For the third row, we'll begin with 2 chains. We turn the project over, and we'll make the stitch that creates the band effect. So we'll make the first stitch in the first top loop available. In there, we'll make 1 double crochet. After this, we'll go to the next stitch available and we'll go down to the row below, to the very first row in which we made the double crochet stitches. In the corresponding double crochet, we'll be crocheting 1 double crochet with relief to the front. So we yarn over, we pass the hook through the back of the stitch so that the stitch is towards us, and now we make our double crochet. We just finished crocheting it. This is how the double crochet with relief looks like. It should be coming straight from 2 rows below. So now we skip the stitch right here. It should be left there because we already crocheted here. And we go to the next one in which we'll make 1 regular double crochet. We just have to repeat this sequence. So we go to the next stitch, and 2 rows below we pass the hook through the back of that double crochet. And we make our double crochet with relief to the front. We go to the next stitch in which we'll make 1 regular double crochet. And then the next one we go down again 2 rows below. We yarn over from the back in order to make our double crochet with relief. And this is how we should keep going, repeating this sequence until we get to the other side. I just need to crochet the 2 last stitches. The one before the end should be with relief. And the last one should be done in the last single crochet available. That one should be our last double crochet. This is how our third row should look. If you're making this beanie for babies, you can leave this band as is. But if you're making it for older kids or adults, we would just need to repeat rows 2 and 3 one more time. So remember that row 2 is 1 chain, and we make 1 single crochet in each stitch available. To close off a number 2 type row, we'll crochet in the last double crochet available. Remember that the 2 chains should be ignored. We will not crochet in them. After this, we would need to follow the instructions for a type 3 row. So we begin with 2 chains, we turn the project, and now we have to alternate 1 regular double crochet, which will be done in the first stitch available, and then we'll make the double crochet with relief to the front. So we move 2 rows below. By now it should be easier to see where the relief is. We yarn over from the back so that the stitch is to the front, and we make our double crochet with relief. So we keep going. You already know what to do. Keep making this sequence until we finish the whole row. Great! This row is done. I'll leave the band at this size, but you can keep going if you want to. In case you want to leave the band as is, we just need to make now 1 row of single crochet stitches for all sizes. We will always finish with a row of single crochet stitches. Once we have finished the last row of single crochet stitches, we'll bring in the next color, which is color B, the base color for our wolf. I chose this white color, almost beige. So we can change colors, and all the stitches coming from now on will be single crochet stitches. So we make 1 chain, we turn the project, and we'll hide these threads within the single crochets from this row. We have to crochet 1 single crochet stitch in each stitch available until we get to the other side. Take advantage of these stitches to hide the threads left from the color change. We just keep going until we get to the last single crochet from the row below. And that should be the first row for the body of our wolf. Now we make 1 chain, turn the project, and we'll make another 3 rows of single crochet stitches. 1 single crochet in each stitch available. In total, we should have 4 rows of single crochet stitches for the body of our beanie. After the 4th row, we'll change colors again. So we bring in our color C. For me, it's this gray yarn. So I'll leave it over here, ready for the change. And now we'll take our initial odd number and we'll subtract 1. For me, it's 36. And then the number you get, which for me is 36, will be divided in 2. So it's 18 for me. We'll use that number to work that many stitches until we get to the middle of the row with color B, which is our base color. For me, it's 18 single crochet stitches, but you should make as many as you need after you make that little math operation. So we make 1 chain, turn the project, and we begin making those single crochet stitches. For me, it's 18, which is the number I need to start approaching the center of our row. This is the last stitch and we'll leave it open. We will not finish this one. That's how we would make a regular single crochet, but we will not do this now. We'll leave those 2 loops on the hook, and right here is where we'll make the color change. With the color changing, we will have the stitch right here at the middle of our project. So right here, we'll make 1 stitch in color C. Since it's just 1 stitch, we'll just insert the hook, yarn over, and we'll leave it open because we have to change colors again. So we have the 2 loops, we yarn over with color B, and we have changed colors. This will mark the very tip of the wolf's snout. We will hide the loose end of the yarn, but the other one, the one that connects to the yarn ball, we'll leave there, because we'll use it again in the upcoming row. Don't worry too much about this because we'll go through the process step by step. So for now we'll keep crocheting with color B, which for me is white. And we'll make the same number of stitches we did for the other side. This number for me, as you may remember, is 18, but it can change for you. So just make that even number that marks the middle for your project. We'll hide the initial threads as we go. And once we have it hidden for about 5 stitches, we can cut it because it will not become loose. And after this, we keep moving towards the end of the row with color B. Perfect, we're done now. So for the next row, we'll make 1 chain, turn the project, and we'll make single crochet stitches until we are 2 stitches before the stitch we made using color C. This is my stitch in color C. So we count 2 stitches back, and that's the spot we need to reach with our single crochet stitches. Remember, we need to stop when we're 2 stitches before that central stitch. So it's 1 and 2. We have to get there with our single crochets. And once we're there, we'll leave the last stitch open. Now we'll change colors, so we pick up the thread we left on pause. We yarn over and pass it through those 2 loops, and so we have the color change. We can see the yarn is almost like it overlays here, but we'll cover it in a minute. Don't worry about that. This change of colors would not be visible. So now, with our color C, we'll go through the next stitch. But be careful to go under that thread that's overlaid there. Starting now, we'll make 3 stitches in color C. So here we go. That's 1. This is the stitch that will cover the thread we mentioned. Then 2. Remember to pull color B in the stitches because we'll use it again after the 3rd single crochet stitch. This stitch will remain open because we'll change colors again. And we'll go back to color B. We'll use this color B to finish off this row. This is how the change of color should look like, and what we'll do from now on is increase the color C stitches and decrease the sides made with color B. In order to make this color C triangle grow bigger on each side, we'll make 1 more stitch in color C per side and per row. So I'll finish this row in color B. Remember that we should leave color C right there so we can use it in the next row. Don't hide it in the new stitches you make, it should be left there. Make sure to always finish the rows in color B. So we begin the new row with 1 chain, we turn the project, and don't forget to keep going with our color B stitches until you are 2 stitches away from the color C stitch. So now I should count 1 and 2. This is the spot where my stitch in color B should stop. We begin making single crochet stitches. Don't forget to leave the very last stitch open so we can change colors. This is the one before it, and that's the last one. We're 2 stitches away from color C. So we bring in the thread we left on hold over here, our color C thread, and we proceed to change colors. And don't worry if the thread looks like it overlays, because it will be covered by the color C stitch. We yarn over from below the thread in order to make our first single crochet. Now we just have to make 5 single crochet stitches in color C. Remember that there should always be a new one on each side of the triangle. I've made 1, and don't forget to hide the base color, color B, because we'll use it again once we're on the other side. That's the second one, then 3, 4, and the last one, the 5th one, will remain open. We bring back color B, then leave color C laying towards the back, And we change colors so we can continue making single crochet stitches in color B until we finish the row. These are the instructions we need to follow until we get to the height we want for our beanie. Let's see it one more time. Remember that we'll make single crochet stitches in color B until we are 2 stitches away from color C. That's 1, and then the last one that remains open so we can change colors. The instructions are the same, but the central triangle will become bigger and bigger. For this row, we'll make 7 single crochets in color C. Don't forget to hide the thread that's overlaying there from the first stitch in color C. And remember to drag color B in those stitches. So just keep going until we complete one more stitch on the other side. In total, we should have 7 stitches for this row. This is the last one. Remember that it should always be open, because we'll bring back color B. Color C should be left there waiting for the new row. And we should be ending rows with color B. Like I said, this is what we'll keep doing until we have achieved the height we want for our beanie. On screen, you'll see the suggested heights per size. This should be measured including the band. It's the total height for our beanie. Great, so I have achieved the height for children's sizes. And once you have your desired height, we'll just cut the thread. It doesn't matter if you're on color B or color C. We should maintain the same progression with the yarn colors no matter what the size is. And after this, we'll make another piece with the same number of rows, but only using color C, which will be the back part of our wolf's head. The next step is to stitch these pieces together, and we'll do this with a different stitch. We want the stitches to be visible, and we'll use color C for this so that it looks like the little hairs on the side of the wolf's head. So we'll bring in color C in this corner. We insert the hook through one corner, then through the other one, and we bring in color C. We make one chain, and then we'll use single crochet stitches to join the pieces together. You should insert the hook in the first stitch available, which is where the hook is. And in there, we'll make one single crochet stitch. Since we don't have top loops to work on, we'll have to imagine the spaces to work in. They should be equivalent in both pieces, so that we work on the same distance in each side. And try to locate those single crochets within an equivalent distance from each other, so that they look like a uniform stitch on the sides. When we get to the corner, once we have finished this side, we'll follow different instructions for the corner of the beanie. So we make one single crochet. This is to join both pieces together. There it is. Then we make one double crochet in that same hole in the corner. And after that, we make one single crochet. This will create the tip of the wolf's ear. Now we'll keep going with single crochet stitches to join both pieces together. This side is easier because we have the top loops visible. So we just have to insert the hook on one side and then on its equivalent from the back piece. So we just keep going. We'll work on the other side the same way we did on the first one. The instructions are the same. And after this, the 3 sides of the beanie should be ready. We can begin to see the ears, but we'll make them more noticeable in a little bit. When we're done, we make one chain and we cut the yarn, which we'll hide later on with the yarn needle. Before we make the ears stick out more, we'll work on our little wolf's face. I will be using a smaller hook. Mine is a 2.5mm hook, and I'll show you how to make this with a slip stitch. If you're more comfortable and know how to do it with a needle, you can use that. But if you're working with the hook using slip stitches, we'll work from the front to the back. And first we'll bring in the yarn we'll use for this part. Now we just have to imagine the shape we want. We'll make the slip stitches like this, and you'll see that the stitches remain at the surface. I'm making the eye now, which is why I'm creating a curve towards the bottom of the beanie. And then I'll make it go up again. You can create whatever shape you want, make the eyes open, create lashes even. It's up to each of us to decide how we want our wolf's face to look. When we're done, we remove the hook. And we bring the thread to the back with our hook. Our first eye is ready. And now we can make the other eye, the mouth, and all the other decorations you may think of. Now I just need to make the nose for the wolf, which I'll create with a mini heart. You can see the tutorial for this on the pull-down eye and on the video's description. I have made a miniature heart that we can set upward or downwards. I'll set it downwards because I think it looks more like a nose that way. And now we'll use both threads from the heart to tie a knot and set it on the project. Lastly, we'll make the ears more noticeable. For this, we'll turn the project inside out, and we'll use color C to mark a diagonal to mark where the ear starts. We'll keep going only using the stitches on this side. Make sure it's not really visible on the front of the face of the beanie. And we'll do this on both sides. We have to mark the line where we want the ear to begin. When the thread goes from side to side, we'll pull from it, and this part will fold a little. So we'll create some knots in order to give it the proper shape of an ear. I'll show it to you once the beanie is turned outside in. Of course, we have to make this on the other side. Try to make them look as similar as possible. And that's it! Once both ears are ready, the beanie is completed and ready to wear. Well, crochet lovers, I hope you liked this tutorial. Don't forget to share it on your social media with the hashtag #CrochetLovers. And tag me on your pictures to see all your crochet creations. I'll see you next week with a new tutorial. Have a great day, crochet lovers!